rape witness was shot dead years after helping convict culprits. His family fear killer will never be caught. The family of a personal trainer who was shot dead years after he helped convict a gang of rapists fear his killer will never be caught. Abraham Badru, 26, was murdered outside his home in Hackney, East London, in March 2018 after he had received threatening messages telling him he was, unquote, dead meat. He was just 14 when he rescued a woman from a gang rape and gave evidence in court against the suspects, receiving a bravery award for his actions, but lived in fear of retribution. A spokesman for Mr. Badru's family said they believe police are no longer actively investigating his killing after detectives were met by a wall of silence in the case. However, the Metropolitan Police insist the investigation remains open and it will review any new information that emerges about the murder. Mr. Badru's friend Shun David Onamuzi told Sky News the victim's family believe there is a potential major suspect in his killing and there is concern that no one will be brought to justice. He said, "It's really infuriating. This was a gun crime, it was at close range, so the person had enough time to get close to him to shoot him." Mr. Onamuzi hopes an upcoming inquest into Mr. Badru's death will provide clarity on the level of protection that was offered after he gave evidence at the rape trial. He said he was, unquote, proud of his friend for coming to the rescue of the rape victim in 2007 and for giving evidence against the suspects in court. He was an upstanding young man, Mr. Onamuzi added. And quote, "I was proud he stepped in and said, 'This is wrong. This shouldn't be happening,' and he wanted to protect the lady from what happened." Mr. Onamuzi, who was a mentor to Mr. Badru at church, spoke to Sky News on behalf of the victim's mother, Ronk, who was recently discharged from hospital following ill health. At a previous inquest hearing in February, Mrs. Badru said she begged police not to make her son testify against the rape suspects, but was told she would be charged with perverting the course of justice if she intervened. She said her son received threatening messages days after the rape suspects were arrested, including one saying, and quote, "You're dead meat." He was so scared, he stopped going out, she added. Mr. Badru was on the phone to a woman when he was fatally shot as he unloaded items from the boot of his car, shortly after 11 p.m. on the 25th of March, 2018, the inquest hearing was told. Abraham's mother has long since maintained that her son was killed because he gave that testimony. He went on to spend the rest of his life living in fear of retribution from those he helped to convict, leaving London entirely at the age of 16. Abraham moved to Bristol to undertake his A-levels, but after completing his master's degree he returned to London in 2016 for work, by which point he went by the name Prince. He was shot 2 years later, with the killing taking place 24 hours after a mystery woman showed at his mother's house. Ronk said, "The day before he was shot, I heard him say to a woman, 'How did you know where I live?' They both went into the kitchen. I did not recognize the girl." The following day, Mrs. Badru said she saw 2 men looking suspicious outside her home. She was awoken later that night to be told that her son had been shot. The inquest heard that Abraham was on the phone to a woman when he was fatally shot shortly after 11 p.m. as he unloaded items from the boot of his car. DET-SGT Matthew Bennett told the hearing, she, the woman, described hearing a number of loud bangs, then hearing the sound of screeching tires. She was completely unaware of what had taken place. Ronk wiped tears from her eyes as coroner Mary Hassel read witness statements that confirmed her son was pronounced dead at the scene after receiving gunshot wounds to the chest and thigh. Mr. Bennett said we still haven't, to this day, identified any links to the murder or any motive. We couldn't find anyone who had a particular grudge or vendetta against him. Ronk told Daily Mail, for 10 years, Abraham was afraid someone would kill him, and now it has happened. I am empty. He was killed for being a hero. How can that possibly be right? She has previously described her son, who she shares with ex-husband and Nigerian politician Abraham Badru, as a peaceful and respectful man. A long-time community worker in Hackney said he is convinced it was a revenge attack. In an interview after the trial, the teenage victim said, "One of the gang pulled out a knife and told me if I didn't do what they wanted, they would stab me up. They punched me, kicked me, smashed my head against the wall, stripped me and slammed me onto my back. They were surrounding me, laughing. There were so many grabbing at me, pulling my clothes off. I'd reached the point of giving up. I really thought I was going to die." Abraham realized what was happening and blocked off the door, telling the girl to run. He seemed to command some respect from them. "I'm so grateful he saved me," the victim said at the time. Abraham identified the Kingshold Boys gang members and 9 schoolboys, including ringleader O'Neill, who were convicted and later locked up. Since then, most of the gang members have been released and are living close to the Badru's Hackney home. His mother said, "The girl was given a new identity, a new life, she was protected, as was her right. But Abraham should have been given the same protection, he was a victim too."
The investigation remains open and we continue to review the evidence gathered so far, as well as any new information that emerges about Abraham's murder.